Welcome to Still Plays Galaxy of Heroes. This is the talk. We have the road ahead to break down, and in it we have the first of the announced gear changes, the mode-specific abilities and Omicron materials and abilities, Conquest 10 with the Conquest Pass. Old Man Boba Fett is going to be the Conquest character, so we'll take a look at the insights and the kit reveal. They have announced the 6-year anniversary rewards, and we will wrap up as we always do with the free-to-play gearing of my main account. This is the second road ahead. They are starting with a video. This is the new way they've been introducing them. For the most part, everything that is within the video is addressed elsewhere within the body of text, except for one line that we will address later when we get to Conquest. The first portion here is the update on the gear changes that was put in the State of the Galaxy. This is a great change for newer players and players within the mid-game, but what this is really communicating to me is CG has extracted the money they are going to get from whales and krakens when it comes to lower level gear. That stuff has been monetized to the point where there is not a lot of profitability within the older pieces. Even a player like me, and actually when we do the free-to-play gearing, I'll show where my less than gear 11 characters are at, so you can see where a 5-year player who has focused on getting a lot of characters to gear 11, even where I'm at. I've gone through the bulk of this gear within this past year, and I'm myself moving beyond it. When it comes to newer accounts, and this is what I've found out in that new account series, what's really slowing down and holding back newer accounts isn't even this gear. This will allow newer players to move along further, but they're still going to be limited by purple ability mats and credits. So even if you're getting this gear, you're not going to be able to apply it because you're not going to be leveling up your characters fast enough. That's a bigger limitation than even this stuff. So this is great, but that is not what's stopping characters. It's not the shards that's been addressed. It's not the gear. There still needs to be a credit infusion. And I get it that the purple ability mats and the credits, those are grinds that fairly early, at least relative to these other grinds, you move past. So that's probably what CG is thinking, but that's still the bigger limitation factor that I've found in my new account experiments. The next item is these login calendars. There's a new UI, there's purchasable calendars, there's themed calendars. We'll see what that's like. I still have to myself wait a couple more hours to see what the update looks for me and what exactly this Find More Calendars button is really going to do. This next item is also another wait and see type of thing with the mode specific abilities. It's difficult to really opine on that without having some case study examples to reference. The portion though that I do want to highlight is there is a line here for weekly shipments will also provide Omicrons for shard shop currency. That is very interesting to me, and it really means that a lot of players like me who have hoarded a lot of credits and currency, that might be motivating us to actually convert that currency into the shard shop currency to get us to spend it. So the rate at which that is going to be done, how many we can purchase, that's something I'm going to be keying on. Let me just show you quickly where I'm at with those items. So here is where I stand with all the currency. I convert this on an as I need basis to shard shop currency. You can see I have a ton of each piece of currency. And anytime I see anything within the shard shop that I am interested in, I don't do it ahead of time. I like to have the flexibility. Who knows what CG will do? And it looks like CG is going to motivate us with the weekly shipment store. The other item here with the mode specific abilities is there's these characters here who are going to be some of the first to receive them in addition to Old Man Boba Fett. So that's Rose Tico, Captain Phasma, Rolo, Darth Sidious, and on and on. Some of these characters are characters we've had to gear up recently for Galactic Legends, so it's nice, I guess, to see that they get some utility. But at the same time, maybe it makes the characters more viable, but that doesn't necessarily mean they are going to be worth putting these Omicrons on. I'm going to be taking a massive wait and see approach. Let everybody else spend those abilities. We don't know how long it's going to take us to get them, how expensive it will be. Let other people figure out which ones are worth doing and which characters actually become usable with those abilities. If you're free to play, take your time. Let the spenders figure out which ones you want to do. Next item, Conquest 10. They say it a little bit later in the post, but it's coming back November 1st. I wish we had a bit more of a break. I am burnt out from this game mode after the last 3 conquests and getting Maul. But Old Man Boba is here. That is good and fun. I like the look. I like it, but I kind of wanted the Tusken version. This one makes more sense, but I like the look of that Tusken version of Old Man Boba when he first appears in Mandalorian. We'll do the kit and the developer insights in the next portion here. First item with Conquest 10 is easy mode has been added. I think that's great for new accounts. As far as my new account can go, I can only do normal mode Sector 1. I don't have a single Gear 12 character. I have several Gear 11 characters, but with the right squads, I'm able to get through normal Sector 1. If that works the same way that normal Sector 5 and hard mode Sector 1 work, that means if you get the red crate on easy, that should be equivalent to the first crate in normal. If that's the case, and I kind of hope it is, I'm going to just be playing normal mode on the new account and get through it. And it's probably the best way to handle it if you're a newer player. Although when Conquest was introduced, the first 2 conquests my new account couldn't handle. So there is a period where I think that'll be very beneficial, but you should be able to move on to normal mode Sector 1 fairly quickly and start and minimize the work that you're going to have to do. If you develop just like a CLS team and a PELP team, that's really all you need. That'll be good enough. At the start of this, I referenced CG's video had a line about Conquest that's in regards to feats. Supposedly the feats have been adjusted. I'm suspicious about it because their graphic and their word choice conflicted a little bit. In the video, it says feat nodes, but the dialogue, the script they were using, said feats. So they said combat nodes and feats. The graphic says combat nodes and feat nodes. I suspect that it just means feats in general are going to be easier, but they may have responded to just the feat node aspect, where that could mean just like the middle boss or the sector bosses. That was hardly the problem. It's the feats in general. It's the number of attempts. And the Conquest passes don't really address what I think are the critical problem in Conquest right now. And we've talked about this for several weeks. There are 2 different Conquest passes. One is for $10, one is for $30. The $10 one gives you a bonus track of rewards. The $30 version gives you a different refresh rate on the energy. I think there's also additional shards on both, and there's a free swapping of the data discs on the $30 version. This stuff is irrelevant to me, and I think for most even spenders it's going to be irrelevant because the refresh rates wasn't a big deal if you just used your crystals. It gets a little expensive. Because I skipped a couple nights of doing Conquest, I had to go into the 400 energy refreshes for my Conquest energy. It's fine. I don't care. Like, I have plenty of crystals. I've hoarded them. I've saved them. If you're a spender, you're just going to spend the crystals. It's not a big deal. So getting this extra refresh rate, who cares? What does it do? If you're a spender, do you really care that you're going to have a faster refresh rate? What you're going to care about is playing it when you want, not waiting for that energy to come to you. So unless it's an extremely aggressive refresh rate where every hour or couple hours when you come into the game, you have enough energy to actually exploit it, then you're just going to use your crystals anyway to refresh the energy. So why even get this pass? I don't get it. It seems like a small thing where they'll get a certain portion of spenders, and it's priced at a point where I think they can monetize a larger portion of the player base. But even at that point, you're better off just buying crystals and refreshing the energy than I think using these conquest passes. They do reference that there are a catch-up mechanic on the shards, but with my new account, there's going to be a week-by-week new account video coming fairly soon where I'm going to show where my farms are at. Within 1 year of playing, I have finished almost all the store farms. I've made good progress on all the other critical farms, and that's only doing the 50 crystal refreshes. The catch-up mechanic on shards, it's not a big deal unless they're giving it to single shard drop characters, which I doubt they're going to do. My larger feeling about the Conquest Pass and this road ahead in general is it makes me feel like the Hyperdrive bundle State of the Galaxy or road ahead that we got a couple years ago, where it was just like, this isn't for the entire player base. You made this huge big announcement as if it's something we should be excited about, and it was very deflating. And Conquest Pass for me, it's okay, what else? That's what I'm getting from it. Now when it comes to the anniversary, this is great to see every year. Take advantage of the double drops. The 6-year anniversary is going to be the anniversary of my new account. So that is when I'm going to be making a year wrap up on the new account series and show you where everything is at. I am going to maintain that account. We'll talk a little bit more about it in that series. When it comes to this anniversary announcement though, I'm more wondering why they didn't just announce this in a separate post in a week or two. Because this is going to get buried underneath all the other stuff within the road ahead, the Conquest, Boba Fett, everything else. This is a day good press. Wait a week, wait 2 weeks, release the anniversary post, and you get everybody feeling good for a day. Instead, this opportunity to put out that good news, put out that good press is buried, and you're going to just hear negativity instead of having that win. Like, you've cost yourselves a win. I don't get it. It was a weird choice. And we've got the Old Man Boba Fett developer insights. We're not going to break this down too much. I didn't think with these developer insights there was too much in here that reveals too much. The mode specific abilities sound, that's a wait and see thing for me. I don't care about territory wars as much as a lot of other players. Could be very interesting. I do like the idea of momentum. I think that's an interesting and potentially very fun character mechanic, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. I really hope they have made Conquest less of a chore, because I would like to go after him, but I don't know if I want to repeat what I did to get Maul. I can understand if they want to do more than Commander Ahsoka, but Maul was not fun. Inspiration is fine here. The strategy tips. I do think the potential two-man teams of Fennec and Boba Fett could be great. And then here with the Omicron abilities, there's not much here when it comes to the developer insights. However, when we get to the kit reveal, there is a lot more to break down. Boba Fett, Scion of Jango, no one is going to call him that. He's already, to most of the community, Old Man Fett. We will see if that sticks. The basic double action deals physical damage. If the enemy has no protection, it deals more damage. Gains a stack of momentum for 3 turns, so that starts building up these momentum abilities where the more and more stacks that it gets, the more and more other bonuses that will be occurring. The first special, Dual Barrage, it's more of a localized effect. It's not quite an AoE, or it's a limited AoE. It affects the target enemy and weakest enemy. I wonder if it's going to be the next weakest enemy if the target happens to be the weakest. So that's one, because in the past they've been clear about that, especially with the Bad Batch characters. That was something that was very specific within the language. So I was somewhat surprised not to see it here. With some of the stacks here, there's going to be tenacity up that is given in territory war. There is also going to be protection disruption, and protection disruption is going to make him immune to protection up and bonus protection, and protection is disabled. Considering how much teams guilds like to put Padme on defense, seems like that's going to give us another good Padme counter, although it remains to be seen if that is the best use. It might be overkill considering a lot of the other things that we'll be seeing. So that will be what we really need to test out. Is you need to figure out the power level. Like, you see me do it in my grand arenas all the time, and where that gets me into trouble, where I'm trying to beat a team with the minimum strength required. I don't want to use too much to beat things, and I actually end up in my grand arenas with a lot of strong teams afterwards because I don't want to take more. I want a minimum viable team, and that's what we need to establish. Second special, Bounty Breaker. We have, this is a true AoE, inflicts dots, and as he gets more stacks, the damage will be increasing and inflicting tenacity down, which will help those other scoundrels and bounty hunters inflict their debuffs. And then after it's used, the ability becomes blocked for a little bit. But what that really means is it's buying you time to build up stacks. So it's almost like doing you a favor. Leader, dangerous reputation. I guess the thing I've been skipping over is these Omicrons. There's also, in the first ability, is an Omicron. The leader ability, dangerous reputation. Bounty hunter or scoundrel allies have 50% critical avoidance while they have tenacity up, which ties back to the momentum stacking from this second ability. So we're getting tenacity up that's tying into the leader ability. And so they get critical avoidance with tenacity up, and while debuffed, they're getting critical damage. And remember, Fennec is going to be giving that overconfident debuff, which will be adding to that critical damage. Just in case you're going up against a team that's not landing a lot of debuffs, you are still going to be getting those bonuses. And when those debuffs expire, that will be making Fennec even better. So some good synergy going on with those characters. And then the contract, while buffed, damage a debuffed enemy 20 times. Enemy must be debuffed before the start of the attack to count progress. That's something they've been saying with Jango and Bosk. That's not a big deal. But damaging a debuffed enemy 20 times, that's similar to Jango and going to be very easy to do. The only qualifier that's different than Jango is you have to be buffed at the same time. Reward is all bounty hunter allies have their payouts activated, get 25% offense, health steal, and ignore taunt. Which is a reward that I wonder, outside of territory war, are you going to want to use it? Because I think I would rather have Jango, because Jango gives you that bounty hunter's resolve. You're already going to be ignoring taunt there. I don't know if the health steal is going to be that necessary, especially if you have like Grief Karga on a team. Offense is fine, not a huge deal. It's really the territory war bonuses where I think where you're going to want to be using Old Man Fett, and that is the plus speed, the plus mastery, plus potency, max health, max protection, and a damage reduction. That is all very powerful. Unfortunately, that's territory war specific, but still sounds like it will be fun. With that, Boba Fett himself is gaining 60 speed, max health, and max protection. And the way the leader ability is going to be working within territory war is it's triggered after 10 times, not the 20 times. So it's going to happen even faster. So if you're pairing him with the Grief Kargas, the Bosks, or Dengar Boba Fett with a lot of the AoE abilities, that's going to go off almost instantaneously. That's going to go off very quickly. And then you get the payout here. Same deal, offense, health steal, ignore taunt. And then they will be dealing additional damage as true damage. This unique does a lot. He gains 50% offense. He starts with Bounty Hunter Resolve every stack of momentum. He gains 5% turn meter, so he'll be getting faster and faster. If you use the same special ability 3 times in a row, it becomes blocked for a turn. In Territory War, he gets a number of bonuses. He is immune to ability block and stun. Whenever he defeats an enemy, he's going to recover 100% protection and gain Bounty Hunter Resolve. That's basically working like Boba Fett's Zeta. So he's getting that bonus. And then he gets double action, dual barrage, and bounty breaker generate an additional stack of momentum when used. And bounty breakers debuffs can't be resisted or dispelled. So that is very, very strong. Final thing here is with the payout. He gains the critical avoidance, defense penetration, and this is what really matters here. All momentum gains are doubled for the rest of the battle. So after that payout happens, he's going to be getting those stacks of momentums at an accelerated rate. So especially in Territory War, he is going to become pretty devastating as a character. We're wrapping up with the free-to-play gearing of my account, and I'm going to show the characters I have left to gear that are below gear 11, because I was referencing that earlier in the video. I said we would touch upon it just to show where I'm at and where a player who focuses on that gear 11 farming, because it's easier to do, how quickly you can do it, and to show that the gearing changes for a player who plays like me, it's not, it has less of an impact than you would think, and it's why I think CG is doing it. So much of the player base is now at a point where the move actually doesn't benefit us that much. It benefits players below us. I'm about to hit 7 million GP though, so I'm fairly far along. But I actually don't have that many relics. I don't have that much gear 12, but it will help me move a big chunk of my characters from gear 11 to gear 12. So you can see I got Maul. It was a miserable experience. He's actually very easy to gear. I broke down his gearing requirements in the last talk video. It's 1 stun gun and 2 Chirotechs, as I recall. I think there's another Carbonti in there somewhere, but it's not a big deal. I left his Zetas off, and he's fairly effective without the Zetas. So this next week of Grand Arena, you're going to see me playing him without those Zetas, and you kind of get a feel for him. He's fairly usable in my early testing at gear 11, and that's where he's going to stay for another week or two as we just play and test, and I'll put a video out about that in the future. I didn't do much other gearing this period. I did Poggle, and I think that was it. I kind of went through a lot of I haven't replenished my gear since a lot of the last stuff that I had done. But that is Maul. Here are my current projects. I'm not going to do any of these guys right now. But you can see there's a few relics I want to get, especially Canderous. But I'm holding off on Canderous until we do some testing with him pre-relics, just so we can see what that Mandalorian synergy is like before relics throws off the lower level testing. And then there's a few other characters I want to bring to Gear 12. Omega, we're almost done with the farm. And these are, you can see, we're well into luxury gear territory. Super Commando is the last Mando I need to bring to Gear 11. Greedo is the last bounty hunter. There's some pilots that I want to do, some other luxury characters. Bodhi, I've actually heard, has some interesting Mon Mothma synergy, so I want to test that. Luminar is super easy to gear. But what we really want to do here is show you where I stand with my less. Actually, you know what would be easier? Let's flip this. So this is what I have left to gear below Gear 11. It's not much. Like, there's a few pilots, like Jin, a couple Rebel fighters, there's the Phoenix, Rogue One characters, a few Jawas. The Jawas I'm actually prioritizing right now. I've already taken Scavenger up. I think that was in the last video. The Bad Jedi, Galactic Republic, and right there, we're already to my Gear 11 characters. Like, that is it. Maybe, probably not quite by the end of the year, but it's possible that by the end of this year, by the end of 2021, I could have another chunk of these characters to Gear 11. Because I have a decent amount of gear hoarded right now. It's just, with this new infusion of gear that we're receiving, I might be able to take, I don't know, maybe 10 of these characters or so, bring them up to Gear 11 as well.